Scattered across the planet are structures so advanced, so inexplicable that they threaten to unravel everything we think we know about human history. In today's video, we're going to explore the 15 most mysterious structures on the planet. Let's start with number 15, Nan Madal in Micronesia. Off the eastern shore of the island of Pohnpei in the Federated States of Micronesia lies Nan Madal, an archaeological site often referred to as the Venice of the Pacific. It was built atop a series of artificial islets within a lagoon. It consists of nearly 100 stone structures connected by canals, covering about 200 acres. Its origin and construction methods remain a mystery, especially given the island's isolation and the massive basalt stones used in its creation. Constructed between 1200 and 1500 CE, Nan Madal served as the ceremonial and political center of the Sodelur dynasty. It's unique in the world for its ocean setting and its use of columnar basalt, stone logs weighing up to 50 tons each, somehow transported and stacked without the aid of metal tools or wheeled transport. How these stones were quarried, moved across the island, and assembled into monumental platforms and walls remains unknown. The site's abandonment also remains unexplained. Some believe environmental changes, freshwater scarcity, or social upheaval has led to its decline. Others suggest the burdens of maintaining such a complex system became unsustainable. Modern efforts to study Nan Madal have been hindered by its remote location, fragile ecology, and the scale of the site. However, recent underwater archaeology and 3D modeling have helped reveal previously unknown aspects of the complex, like submerged structures and extended foundations. From above, it appears as a complex grid of rectangular islets and dark canals, forming a striking pattern against the turquoise waters. The stone platforms and connecting waterways are clearly visible in imagery, especially during low tide. And satellite imagery has been essential for mapping the full extent of the site, detecting any submerged ruins and monitoring the environmental conditions of the reef. The precision and scale of Nan Madal only deepen the mystery of how it was built and what caused its eventual abandonment. Number 14, the Coral Castle in Florida. Tucked away in Homestead, Florida, the Coral Castle is one of the most perplexing structures in the U.S. Built entirely by a single man, Latvian immigrant Edward Leedskalnin between 1923 and 1951, the Coral Castle is composed of over 1,100 tons of limestone blocks, some weighing as much as 30 tons. Now, what makes this structure so mysterious isn't just the construction or layout, but the fact that Leedskalnin carved, moved, and positioned every block alone, often at night and without any heavy machinery. To this day, no one fully understands how he achieved this feat. The Coral Castle includes massive walls, a two-story tower, a functioning stone gate that pivots effortlessly on its axis, and meticulously carved chairs, tables, sundials, and even a telescope, all made from stone. Each piece is not only massive, but also carefully balanced and precisely engineered. The gate, for instance, was so perfectly balanced that a child could push it open. Leedskalnin was an intensely private man. He never revealed his techniques. He claimed to understand the laws of weight and leverage in ways that others did not, hinting at mysterious forces like magnetism and maybe a deeper knowledge of nature. Some observers, including engineers and scientists, have speculated that he may have tapped into unknown principles of physics, while others diminish his accomplishments as a clever combination of pulleys, levers, and raw determination. But no eyewitnesses ever recorded how he worked, and even today, the castle's creation remains a puzzle. It's been featured in numerous documentaries and investigations, including episodes of Ancient Aliens and other programs exploring unexplained phenomena. And despite modern technical analysis, no one has definitively solved the mystery yet. From above, it appears like a compact compound within the suburban sprawl of Homestead. The layout and high stone walls are easily visible, standing in contrast to the surrounding buildings and vegetation. The distinct arrangement of monolithic stones and circular features stands out clearly. But they offer no further clues into how the structure was built, a mystery that remains firmly grounded on Earth. Number 13, the Colossal Temple in India. Within the Ellora Caves complex in India, the Colossal Temple, also known as Cave 16, is one of the most amazing rock-cut structures in the world. Carved entirely from a single massive rock face, this monolithic temple was not built but excavated downward, removing an estimated 400,000 tons of basalt to reveal an intricately detailed Hindu sanctuary. Unlike traditional construction where material is added layer by layer, this temple was hewn from the top down. Artisans had no room for error. One misstep in carving could have ruined the entire thing. This method required meticulous planning, vast manpower, and remarkable precision. The temple stands about 30 meters tall and it stretches over 50 meters in length, containing pillared halls, shrines, sculptures, courtyards, staircases, and an inner sanctum. Now, what adds to the mystery is the construction timeline. Some people believe it took less than 20 years to complete, based on inscriptions and stylistic analysis. If true, this would imply the removal of 20,000 tons of rock per year, without dynamite, drills, or modern machinery. Even today, recreating the temple with all its precision would be a monumental challenge. While mainstream archaeology attributes it to the Rashakutras, many believe there is more to the story, hidden meanings encoded in stone or lost text waiting to be unearthed. From above, it's almost camouflaged within the cliff that holds the rest of the Ellora caves. However, satellite imagery reveals the sharp outlines of its rectangular excavation pit and its layout. The difference between the carved temple and the surrounding terrain is especially evident in 3D elevation models. Those tools help researchers understand how the temple fits into the broader geography, how erosion might affect its long-term preservation, and whether other buried structures might remain undiscovered nearby. Number 12. Baalbek, Lebanon. Located in the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, Baalbek is an ancient city that hosts one of the most mysterious and monumental temple complexes of the Roman world. At the heart of the site lies the Temple of Jupiter, famous not only for its columns, but also for its foundation stones, the largest known hewn stones in antiquity. The three most massive blocks, known as the Trilithian, each weigh an estimated 800 to 1,100 tons and rest on top of a platform of smaller stones. Nearby, an even larger stone weighing over 1,200 tons, dubbed the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, lies partially buried in a quarry. To this day, no one can definitively explain how these stones were transported and then lifted into place. The Romans are credited with much of the visible architecture, including the 6 remaining columns of the Temple Jupiter that soared nearly 20 meters into the sky. However, many scholars believe the site's foundations were laid by earlier civilizations, possibly the Phoenicians or even cultures that were lost to time. This raises the possibility that the Romans built upon an already ancient and mysterious foundation. Baalbek was originally known as Heliopolis, or City of the Sun, and it served as a major religious center. Temples dedicated to Jupiter and Venus were constructed with astonishing grandeur and detail. The Temple of Bacchus, for example, is one of the best preserved Roman temples, featuring elaborate carvings, massive staircases, and ornate columns. Baalbek also played a prominent role in regional politics and religious mythology. It's revered by different communities for different reasons and continues to attract pilgrims, tourists, and researchers alike. However, ongoing political instability and conflict in Lebanon have posed threats to its preservation. But from above, Baalbek's colossal scale is unmistakable. The alignment of the temple complex with the surrounding terrain, the symmetry of its colonnades, and the contrast between the ancient ruins and the modern town nearby all stand out in sharp relief. Recent high-res scans have even helped to reveal patterns in the surrounding landscape that may point to ancient roads or structures yet to be excavated. From above, it stands as a marvel of human achievement and a reminder of the mysteries that still endure throughout time. Number 11. The Hypogeum, Malta. Located in the town of Paula in the Mediterranean island of Malta, the Hypogeum is a prehistoric underground structure that has puzzled archaeologists and historians since its discovery in 1902. Dating back over 5,000 years to around 3300 BCE, the Hypogeum is believed to be one of the oldest underground temples or necropolises in the world. Carved entirely from limestone using primitive tools, the site consists of a multi-level complex with halls, burial chambers, and ritual spaces, some of which reach depths of over 10 meters. The complex's architecture is pretty sophisticated, with corbelled ceilings, acoustically tuned chambers, and passageways aligned with solar and lunar cycles. The structure includes the Oracle Room, a chamber known for its acoustic properties. Low-frequency sounds here made in this room can be heard throughout the entire complex. Some researchers believe this was intentional, potentially used for rituals involving sound and resonance. Without modern tools or lighting, prehistoric builders managed to excavate and sculpt elaborate underground worlds with precise geometric planning. How they achieved such architectural finesse remains a subject of debate, but the site's acoustics, structural stability, and artistic details suggest a level of cultural and scientific sophistication. From above, the hypogeum is virtually invisible, hidden beneath a modern urban neighborhood in Paula. Satellite imagery shows only surface-level buildings and streets, giving no hint of this ancient world buried below. But the contrast between it and the contemporary cityscape above is a stark reminder of how easily history can be hidden in plain sight. Number 10. Gobekli Tepe, Turkey. Sitting atop a remote hill in southeastern Turkey, Gobekli Tepe is considered by many archaeologists to be the oldest known temple complex. Dating back to around 9600 BCE, some 6,000 years before the construction of Stonehenge, this site has dramatically altered our understanding of prehistoric civilizations. Before its discovery, the prevailing narrative held that organized religion and complex architecture emerged only after the advent of agriculture and sedentary society. Gobekli Tepe, however, was built by hunter-gatherers, predating the first cities and even written language. This revelation has forced scholars to reconsider the sequence of human development, and it remains a site that's layered in mystery. The complex itself consists of a series of circular and oval-shaped structures carved from limestone, with these massive T-shaped stone pillars that reach heights of up to 6 meters and weigh as much as 20 tons. But what's most astounding is not just the age, but the scale and sophistication of the design. These are not crude constructions, they're meticulously planned and executed, pointing to a high degree of social coordination and symbolic expression. Adding to the intrigue is the location here. The site lies in a relatively arid, barren region with no nearby water source and little evidence of permanent habitation. This suggests that Gobekli Tepe was not a residential site, but rather a religious or ceremonial center. The labor and resources required to construct such a site imply a level of social organization that was previously thought to be beyond the reach of Paleolithic communities. Despite decades of excavation, only a small portion of Gobekli Tepe has been unearthed. Ground-penetrating radar reveals dozens of more enclosures that lie beneath the surface waiting to be excavated. Each new discovery adds a layer of complexity to the site's already enigmatic narrative. The excavation and preservation of Gobekli Tepe is ongoing, with UNESCO designating it a World Heritage Site in 2018. Yet the site is fragile, both physically and culturally. Turkish authorities have constructed protective coverings and viewing platforms to mitigate any risks, but the balance between access and preservation remains challenging. From above, it appears as a series of subtle, rounded mounds nestled into the Anatolian plateau. While the structures themselves are hidden beneath layers of soil and sheltering canopies, satellite imagery has been instrumental in mapping the broader landscape. Time-lapse satellite data has also been used to monitor the impact of erosion, climate, and human activity on the site's preservation. And in a region that's prone to seismic activity and desertification, these insights are invaluable for long-term planning and conservation. Number 9. The Longyu Caves in China. The Longyu Caves, located near the village of Xi'an in the Zhejiang province in China, are a collection of vast hand-carved caverns that remain one of the greatest mysteries of East Asia. Discovered in 1992 by local farmers who were draining village ponds, the caves revealed a subterranean complex so immense and so precise that experts were stunned. To date, 24 caves have been uncovered, each with smooth walls, straight angles, massive pillars, and uniformly chiseled surfaces, covering a combined area of over 30,000 square meters. Archaeologists estimate the caves to be at least 2,000 years old, dating back to the Qin or Han dynasty, yet nobody knows who built them, for what purpose, or how such a monumental task was accomplished with the tools available at that time. Some researchers have speculated that the caves may have served underground palaces, storage facilities, or as military hideouts, while others believe they could have a spiritual function. Still, the total silence in historical texts makes everything here speculative. There's also no evidence of waste rock from the excavation, leaving yet another unanswered question. Recent studies using 3D scanning and advanced imaging have revealed even more symmetrical patterns and structural features, deepening this mystery. Yet despite modern analysis, the Longyou caves remain puzzling from both an engineering and historical perspective. From above, the entrances to the caves are located beneath ordinary farmland and village terrain, making them indistinguishable in satellite imagery without detailed geolocation data. However, when overlaid with architectural scans, satellite imagery has been useful for identifying the general surface area above known caves and for detecting potential undiscovered cavities. The satellite view reinforces the striking contrast between the ordinary rural landscape above and the astonishing complexity that lies just below. Number 8. The Yonaguni Monument, Japan. Submerged off the coast of Yonaguni, in the westernmost inhabited island of Japan, lies one of the most debated underwater structures in the world, the Yonaguni Monument. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver exploring for hammerhead sharks, this formation appears to be a massive stepped pyramid or terrace-like complex carved into the seabed. With clean lines, right angles, flat surfaces, and features resembling staircases, columns, and roads, this monument raises a provocative question. Was it shaped by nature or crafted by an ancient civilization lost to the sea? The monument itself is enormous, measuring about 150 meters in length, 40 meters wide, and rising roughly 27 meters from the ocean floor. Supporters of the man-made theory point to the structure's apparent layout and orientation. They suggest that such complex geometry and alignment with cardinal directions are unlikely to be the result of natural features. Some researchers, including maritime geologist Masaki Kimura, believe that Yonaguni may be the remains of an ancient city or temple complex that was submerged following a catastrophic event, maybe a tsunami or post-ice age sea level rise. But many geologists remain skeptical. Critics argue that the site is naturally occurring, a sandstone formation shaped by underwater currents, seismic activity, and regular fracturing of rock plains. They contend that the steps and walls are the result of repetitive bedding and jointing in the sedimentary layers, not human workmanship. The debate has become emblematic of the broader conflict between conventional archaeology and alternative theories. For some, Yonaguni is proof that advanced prehistoric civilizations may have existed and were lost to time. For others, it's a spectacular but natural geological formation made all the more fascinating by the human imagination. From above, it is invisible, hidden beneath the shallows off Japan's Ryukyu Islands. However, satellite data has been essential in mapping the surrounding seabed. High-resolution bathymetric scans and sonar imaging complement satellite data, offering a 3D topographical view of the ocean floor. Yet even with a powerful view from above, the true nature of the Yonaguni Monument remains cloaked in the deep blue mystery of the Pacific. Moving on to number 7, Sacsayhuaman in Peru. Overlooking the ancient city of Cusco in Peru, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman stands as one of the most mysterious and amazing feats of megalithic architecture in the world. Constructed by the Inca in the 15th century or possibly even earlier by unknown predecessors, Sacsayhuaman consists of massive stone walls composed of precisely cut and fitted limestone boulders. Some of these stones weigh more than 100 tons, and yet they're so perfectly joined that not even a razor blade could fit between them. How did a civilization without iron tools, wheels, or draft animals manage to quarry, transport, and fit such enormous stones with such precision? Well, the Inca themselves left no written records and oral histories attributing the construction to divine or mythical intervention. What we do know is that the stonework displays a level of sophistication that rivals, even surpasses, that of many modern builders. Beyond the walls, though, it includes a series of underground tunnels, circular structures, and platforms, many of which remain unexplored, but some researchers believe these areas served as ceremonial or astronomical purposes, while others think they were integral to the site's military function. Alternative theories have proposed that the site predates the Inca and was merely inherited and expanded by them. Proponents of this view cite the difference in stone-cutting techniques between the lower and upper layers of the walls. Some even suggest the use of lost technologies or even an unknown civilization. Although mainstream archaeology supports a pre-Columbian origin rooted in native Andean engineering. From above, the iconic zigzagging walls are clearly visible etched into the hilltop. The geometric precision and scale of the site stand out even amid the urban and natural landscape. Satellite imagery here has been instrumental in mapping the unexcavated sections and understanding the full scope of this fortress. The integration of Sacsayhuaman into the larger archaeological region of Cusco reveals a network of cultural and ceremonial importance far greater than a single fortress. Number 6. Derinkuyu Underground City in Turkey. Beneath the plains of Cappadocia in central Turkey lies one of the most astonishing subterranean complexes ever discovered, Derinkuyu, the largest excavated underground city in the world. Carved entirely from soft volcanic rock, this vast network descends more than 60 meters, about 200 feet below the surface, and it could accommodate as many as 20,000 people. It wasn't merely a shelter, it's a fully functional underground metropolis complete with living quarters, stables, chapels, storage rooms, wine and oil presses, ventilation shafts, and even a school. But the exact origins of Derinkuyu remain unknown, though estimates suggest it was first constructed by the Phrygians in the 8th or 7th century BCE. Later civilizations, including early Christians fleeing Roman persecution, expanded and modified the network extensively. But what sets it apart from other complexes is not just the size, but its engineering sophistication. The city's multiple levels are connected by narrow passageways and steep staircases, many of which could be sealed off with massive stone doors. These circular boulders weighing up to 1,000 pounds could be rolled into place from inside, offering protection against intruders. Now, the reason for building such an elaborate subterranean world remain debated. Some scholars suggest it was created primarily as a defensive measure, while others believed it served a religious purpose. Whatever the original intent, it clearly evolved into a sophisticated safe haven for entire communities. Efforts to preserve Derinkuyu face challenges. The soft rock is vulnerable to erosion and human impact, and tourism must be carefully managed to prevent any damage, while ongoing excavation is complicated by the delicate balance between uncovering history and preserving structural integrity. From above, it reveals almost nothing. The city's entrance lies beneath ordinary homes and fields in a modest town, making it virtually invisible to casual observation. Imagery also supports conservation efforts by identifying surface-level changes that could impact the structural stability of the chambers below. In a broader sense, the satellite view reminds us that entire worlds can lie hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be rediscovered, not in remote jungles or atop mountains, but beneath the very ground we walk on every day. Number 5. Teotihuacan in Mexico. Stretching across the highlands of central Mexico, Teotihuacan is a sprawling, ancient metropolis shrouded in mystery. At its peak around 450 CE, it was one of the largest cities in the world, home to more than 100,000 people. Yet its origins, its builders, and even its original name remain unknown. The name Teotihuacan, meaning the place where gods were born, was given by the later Aztecs, who considered it a sacred city built by divine beings. The city's central axis, known as the Avenue of the Dead, runs more than 2 kilometers and is flanked by massive structures, including the Pyramid of the Sun, the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent Quetzalcoatl. The Pyramid of the Sun is the largest pyramid in the world, constructed from over 3 million tons of stone. But what makes Teotihuacan so mysterious isn't just the scale, but the mathematical and astronomical precision embedded in its layout. The entire city was carefully planned. Its orientation is offset 15.5 degrees from true north, a positioning that some researchers believe aligns with celestial events or the setting of the Pleiades star cluster. One of the most puzzling aspects of Teotihuacan is the absence of identifiable rulers. Unlike other Mesoamerican cities, there are no depictions of kings or dynasties. Instead, the city seems to have been governed collectively or by a priestly class. The murals and sculptures that do exist emphasize abstract deities, mythical animals, and geometric symbolism, making interpretation pretty difficult. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most visited archaeological parks in the world. Researchers are also studying the site's acoustic properties, theorizing that plazas and temples like this were designed to amplify ritual chants and drum beats. But from above, it appears like a vast geometric expanse that's etched into the highland valley. The Avenue of the Dead forms a bold line across the landscape, and the pyramids cast distinct shadows, visible even when standard resolution imagery happens. Teotihuacan stands as a celestial map, a city that gazes skywards even in ruin, daring us to decode its message from the stars. Number 4. Mount Yamantau in Russia. In the southern Ural Mountains of Russia stands Mount Yamantau, a name that in the Bashkir language ominously translates to Evil Mountain. Well, while this forested park may appear unremarkable from a distance, it's at the center of one of the Cold War's most enduring mysteries. Satellite imagery taken since the 1990s has revealed massive constructions beneath and around the mountain, an extensive network of tunnels, bunkers, and structures that remain unexplained by the Russian government. Official explanations have varied wildly over the years. At different times, Russian authorities have described the site as a food storage facility, a nuclear bunker, a mining operation, or even a repository for Russian cultural treasures. Yet none of these explanations align with the scale and secrecy observed. Speculation runs rampant. Some believe the site's a massive doomsday bunker designed to shelter high-ranking officials. Others think it's a command and control hub for Russia's strategic nuclear forces. There's also the theory that it holds experimental laboratories, weapons development facilities, or even hidden repositories for state secrets. Despite repeated requests for clarification, Russian officials have refused to offer any consistent explanations, fueling suspicions and conspiracy theories. In the absence of any verifiable data, though, even seasoned intelligence analysts remain in the dark. Satellite imagery is the primary window into the secrets of Mount Yamantau. Images reveal large excavation zones, suspiciously symmetrical mounds, tunnel entrances, antenna field, and transportation corridors hidden among the forest. From above, it is a paradox, silent and remote, yet alive with the signs of something massive beneath the surface. Number 3. The Great Zimbabwe Ruins. Hidden in the southeastern hills of Zimbabwe lies a vast stone city that once served as the capital of a powerful medieval kingdom, Great Zimbabwe. Covering nearly 800 acres at its peak, the site included the Great Enclosure, the hill complex, and numerous valley ruins, all built with massive granite stones. The name Zimbabwe itself derives from Zimbadzamabwe, meaning House of Stone in the Shona language. Though long shrouded in myth and colonial misinterpretation, Great Zimbabwe stands as a symbol of indigenous African achievement. Constructed between the 11th and 15th centuries, the stone walls of Great Zimbabwe reach up to 11 meters high. The design is curvilinear and harmoniously integrated with the landscape. The Great Enclosure contains the conical tower whose purpose remains unknown, and unlike most ancient towers, it has no internal chambers or staircases, leading scholars to theorize that it may have been a granary, ritual object, or a status symbol. No written records from the builders have survived, and colonial archaeologists once attributed the ruins to foreign civilizations, refusing to believe they could be of African origin. What political structure governed Great Zimbabwe? What caused its decline? Was the site abandoned due to environmental degradation, shifting trade routes, or internal conflict? The mystery continues. But Great Zimbabwe also carries an immense cultural weight. It became a focal point of Zimbabwean nationalism during the struggle for independence, and its stylized towers featured on the national flag and currency. Yet access to the site remains limited, and concerns about preservation, looting, and climate impact threaten its future. From above, the ruins form a striking pattern against the highland grassland. The concentric walls, terraces, and layout of the Great Enclosure and hill complex are clearly visible. Satellite tools have been used to map out the full extent of the settlement, revealing hidden ruins, footpaths, and agricultural terraces. Great Zimbabwe appears not as an isolated site, but as the nucleus of a once thriving African civilization whose legacy still echoes in stone. Number 2. The Liechtenstein Cave in Germany. In a wooded hillside near the town of Osterode in Lower Saxony, Germany, lies one of Europe's most haunting and invaluable archaeological sites, the Liechtenstein Cave. Discovered by accident in 1972 during blasting for limestone, The cave contains the largest concentration of Bronze Age human remains ever found in Europe, over 40 complete skeletons dating back more than 3,000 years. What makes this cave especially mysterious is not just the number of bodies, but what modern science has revealed about their identities and relationships. Unlike typical burial caves or tombs, the Liechtenstein cave was not built or elaborately adorned. Its entrance was sealed with rubble, and the bodies were found scattered and intertwined, suggesting that the site was used for ritual or emergency purposes. The remains included men, women, and children, some of whom showed signs of disease, injury, or malnutrition. Artifacts like bronze jewelry, weapons, and tools were also discovered, indicating that the individuals belonged to a community with metallurgical skills and social stratification. The findings were astonishing. The cave contained members of a single extended family, 3 generations living in a tribal society. Some individuals were closely related, while others had no genetic link, suggesting marriage alliances, adoption, or even community integration. But the biggest mystery remains: why were these people placed in the cave? Were they victims of a plague, war, or famine? Was this a sacred burial site or a hideout? The presence of valuable artifacts implies that these individuals were respected, or at least ritually acknowledged. To this day, the cave remains closed to the public, preserved for research. New technologies like 3D scanning, isotopic analysis, and micro-excavation continue to yield insights. The cave is hidden beneath a forested canopy and shows no surface structures or distinguishing features. However, satellite imagery has played a supporting role in contextualizing the cave's landscape. Thermal and LiDAR imaging have been considered for non-invasive exploration of surrounding areas that might hold related sites. From above, the cave may be invisible, but the land around it whispers the story of a community that vanished, but left its mark in bone and DNA. Number 1. The Kaimanawa Wall, New Zealand. In the remote central plateau of New Zealand's North Island lies a rock formation that has sparked decades of controversy and curiosity, the Kaimanawa Wall. At first glance, it appears to be a neatly stacked wall of massive stone blocks, some measuring over 2 meters in height and width. The faces of the stones are strikingly flat, with right angles and consistent seams, leading some to believe the wall is a man-made megalithic structure, possibly built by an unknown pre-Maori civilization. First brought to the public attention in early 1990s, the wall has divided opinion between mainstream scientists and alternative theorists. Archaeologists within the New Zealand Department of Conservation have concluded that the formation is a natural ignimbrite outcrop shaped by volcanic activity and natural fracturing. According to their studies, the symmetry of the stone's face is a result from a phenomenon called jointing, where cooling lava cracks into rectangular patterns. However, proponents of the artificial origin theory argue that the precision of the stone blocks go far beyond what nature typically produces. Supporters of the ancient construction hypothesis point to what appear to be chisel marks, uniform joint lines, and stone surfaces that look deliberately polished or leveled. Oral histories from Maori tribes in the region refer to earlier inhabitants, though these accounts are fragmentary and symbolic rather than explicit. Nevertheless, the wall continues to fuel speculation. Its remote location and limited access make their detailed study pretty difficult, and no comprehensive excavation has been undertaken. But from above, the wall is nearly indistinguishable from the surrounding bushland. The forest cover and lack of large-scale development make it a visual void in satellite images. However, geospatial data and elevation models do help researchers map the region's volcanic geology and assess the patterns of fracturing, erosion, and seismic influence. For now, the Kaimanawa Wall remains what it always has been, a puzzle hidden in plain sight, its truth buried in stone.